Cheers.
Cheers.
So, maybe a little introduction. This is our initial podcast. Jonathan and I are doing a little coming together, a little discussion, a little dialogue on the aftermath of shooting one of our videos. So, the basic idea is we shoot a video on a particular bottle of scotch, and then we thought we would get together afterward and sort of allow ourselves to just have a natural conversation. I'm not imagining that there's an audience sitting right there right now or anything like that. It's actually just Johnny and I, the equipment, the scotch, and a chance to maybe discuss a few things that might come to mind after enjoying a really, really nice whiskey. So
Really
why don't
nice
we
whiskey.
start with the whiskey, Johnny?
Well, I always felt it's like sports. No, I felt pretty much like you did. I thought, because it's always been one of my favorites. Like, we compared the Talisker 10, but the whole Talisker family is enjoyable. You get excited just because it's in that family. Maybe that's a bias thing too, because we're just, we're too excited and it tips us over.
It's true. Yeah, you give them a lot of leverage, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as they show up, it's sort of like, well, you look great. My memories of you are great, and therefore you could be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you make them great, or is it great?
It's a little different with me around.
I know.
Isn't it?
I know.
Yeah, I think you do make them great.
Well, ultimately, it's up to us to decide what is good and what isn't. That's for sure. I mean, we're the ones paying the money. So if you're going to buy it twice, somehow, some way, that legitimizes the quality.
What do you mean by twice?
Well, let's say you're going to buy more than one Talisker Storm in your lifetime.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's a great
Yeah.
way of knowing that it actually is worth something, because you're not bypassing it to buy something else. You're actually going to go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know you're rebuying certain bottles, it either means that they came in the right value point and they have enough quality to carry the day and therefore they're worth buying, or they're special and they're worth shelling out a little extra for. And anytime you get up around $100,
Mm-hmm.
you start to think carefully about what something's worth. I think
Yeah, I
kind of
think
the
so
cutoff.
too. Yeah, it's one of those scotches that I always like to use that scenario as if you're well, that was a big one.
That's
But
a
if
nice
you're,
one.
if you're, if you're limited to, if
It
nothing
is your
else
birthday
around,
scotch. It is your
well,
birthday.
thank you.
And Johnny,
It's a
I
great
wanted
pick.
while we're at it,
Nobody's
I just
gonna be
wanted to
disappointed
present you
that.
with this birthday ribbon
Oh yeah.
that you should carry forevermore
With
to
the
remind
dog.
remind you that no matter what you do in an artistic pursuit, you can never account for everything.
No,
Hey,
no, it's true.
it's true.
It does have a nice little elastic on it.
I know they did a good job on the design.
Should we put it back on?
Well, yes. Actually, that's the place for it, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe a little lower. So it's gonna work. Was it there or was it right at the top?
I think it was up at the top neck right here.
Is it? That's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. Here, let's.
That was a
check
little shocking. Like,
It was
I didn't know what
shocking.
to do about that.
Well,
I was like, oh,
because
it
there
kind
was
of the opening.
and it totally wrecked the opening.
It wasn't shock and awe. It was, what the?
The heck? Is it Christmas every day around the Wee Dram?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas every day.
It was actually, it was kind of fun to do. It was, I'm looking forward to all our favorites though. And we did, when we come back around to those ones we like. And
Well,
it's just exciting.
Well, let's talk about that because, like, okay, it's exciting, but then you're also like, okay, so then it gets into this like, what's a 5?
Mm-hmm.
So some way somehow we've kind of got to figure it out that the Talisker 10 is 5-ish for sure.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
Lefroy
yeah.
10 is probably a solid 5.
I would give
And
it
the
a 5.
Lagavulin 16 is an unquestionable 5.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it lays out. If I had to go 1, 2, 3, I would go Lagavulin, Lefroy, Talisker in that order. If I had to go 1, 2, 3, if somebody said you had to choose between these 3 scotches,
That's a tough
how
one.
else do you do it?
It's a real tough one with Talisker because for me, the reason Talisker squeaks in there is because it does offer something completely different.
Squeaks
more
into
than
2?
Yeah, at least.
Ahead of Lafroig 10.
I've enjoyed Talisker sometimes where I've said, I could just drink this forever. I don't need another scotch.
Well, I've said that about Lafroig 10.
Well, that's true too, right? But then, so how do you put one above
I
the
know.
other?
You don't. You sit here and you talk it out.
Mm-hmm.
You try and figure it out. Because I think it's a legitimate question. I think it's fair to ask somebody that question. And you have to respond. But you can respond and then qualify it in a million ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And still give respect to all three whiskeys. And essentially they're kind of elevated to their own realm, you know, aside from all the other, like we talked about the Lore earlier, or the Talisker 57. I've never had anything better than the Lagavulin 16 inside the Lagavulin family, but maybe there's a product there that exceeds.
Well, I did bring back that 25 that one time I went,
Oh.
and I got it right from the distillery. That was like one of the best moments. And I you know what? It was still, for the amount you pay for that versus what you pay for just the Lagavulin 16, it's like,
not
I don't
even
know
close.
if it's worth it. If I had lots of
Yeah.
money to burn, maybe I'd get a case of it.
Right.
And it is good. It does offer a Lagavulin with a twist. You know?
Yeah.
Kind of like the 57, but then again, the 57 for the Talisker is priced way more reasonable.
Well, and this is the thing about Islay scotches that I've been reading about lately, and it's not to say this means that I have to bow down to this knowledge and this is the truth and la la la. It just means that it's something to think about. And what I heard was the Islas in particular don't need to be matured as long because their qualities appear and reveal themselves earlier in the mix than many other whiskeys. And the other thing that is just a cautionary tale to older whiskeys, so let's say anything above 20 years, just for discussion's sake. And again, I'm not going to claim any expertise on this point. I'm just saying that I'm starting to hear about these ideas as being possibilities. Is that that these stronger whiskeys from the islands and from Islay in particular are good around 16. That's where they're meant to be had, you know? That if you go to 25, you might even be possibly losing something. Now, I'm not saying that happened in the case of the Lafroig or the Lagavulin 25, but it's something to think about, you know?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
so
a lot
maybe
of
whereas
those-
a Highland might mature, you know, in their sort of natural, fruity, you know, like spicy ways, maybe those whiskeys are more predisposed to having those longer sits inside the barrels and stuff. I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah, I mean, what's exciting is to think that, well, you can spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. You know, you really could. You could try to just get on it, you know, and just, you know, travel there, talk to other people, try to taste as much as you can. But I think the hard thing with the tasting, and sorry to keep yammering around, is that I think there is sort of a difference between every bottle and every evening and everything. So the next time we have Talisker Storm, it can't be the same. What do you think of that?
What do you mean?
Well, if every bottle is unique, given that every bottle has to come from a certain process of distilling, and that the only way to arrive at having a Scotch bottle is to take each one into consideration in its own way. And so the master malter is going to try to produce the same bottle of Lagavulin 16 or Talisker Storm time and time again. But the truth is you're going to get something slightly different every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wonder what that ratio is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the point being is it's like, all right, so what is the point here?
I don't know, but I think the Talisker has its own essence. So I guess if you go one way or the other, what does it matter really? Because they've got something there to begin with.
Okay, so that goes back to the microclimate and the idea that, you know, here we are on the Isle of Skye. That you can't do what you're doing on Isla on the Isle of Skye because you're not on Isla. So therefore, we can talk till we're blue in the face or blue in the bottle, like the Talisker is, and you won't necessarily come up with any sort of way to discern the difference between a Lafroig 10 and a Talisker 10. How do you even... Why? So is ranking them problematic in and of itself? Or do you think it's just natural to want to know?
I think you're going to have your favorites, so why not have a ranking system? Yours is different from mine. You know, everybody's got different ones.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? I think a lot of people, we all have the same paths we follow a little bit, and certain, you agree with some people, you don't with others. But I do think, and I have always said that these scotches, like our top three, they're in a world of their own.
Yeah.
And I find it hard that anybody who's into scotch tastes those big three and says, like, there's nothing to them, or there's nothing special about them. I mean, I've heard people taste them for the first time and go, I don't like it, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at least that, I give them credit for that. That's nice. At least they're like, oh, I see, yeah. Campfire.
I remember being with a woman one night who was the wife of the man who was paying the bill at the table, who bought me the Lagavulin 16, who said to my face it tastes like horse liniment. Like, rubbing on a saddle,
That's sad.
I know.
Because that's not a compliment.
No, it's such a rip, and I was just sort of looking like, oh, I'm not wasting your husband's money.
Well, why is campfire?
Campfire so
or
sexy?
The sea a compliment?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I mean, who
right.
drinks the sea and...
Yeah. Who drinks a horse saddle?
You cough when you're around a campfire.
It's a good way of saying it, yeah. That a compliment in the world of single malt whiskey isn't necessarily equivalent to compliments in other worlds.
Maybe he liked it. Maybe he really liked it. Or
I
did
hope
he
he
have a
did.
disgusting look on his face?
Well, he wasn't the kind of guy that ever changed his expression. He was a
Those
sort
guys
of
hard to read.
Eh?
That's too
really
bad.
close to his
Well,
chest.
he's probably not going to like anything.
Possibly.
Yeah, those guys that are hard to read. Some people just aren't happy with anything.
Oh, that's a whole other matter. That's for sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Talisker Storm it lived up to my thoughts, and I've always liked it. And I thought, once again, I'm tasting it. I'm like, oh, this is why I like Talisker.
Yeah.
And it's, dare I say, it's almost so good that I don't mind not having the 10. In some ways, it's that different.
We could taste the 10.
We could taste the 10 and
Hey?
try it out. We probably should.
Sort of like...
We should.
Sort of
That's what we
seems
should be
like
doing.
we're heading in that direction, eh?
Yeah.
So, as we finish up our Talisker Storm, we're kind of thinking it might be a good idea to do a little cross-referencing within the Talisker world and have ourselves a Talisker 10 on the heels of the Storm. Johnny, what do you think of that?
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I do
think
too.
that's why you have a Scotch Club, in fact.
Right.
You want to see how they all compare
That's
to one
right.
another.
And so how best to do that?
By trying the one that it's his big brother.
That's right. That's right. I know, next thing you know, we'll be having Lefroy's and Selects.
Oh, I know. It could get ugly.
It could go anywhere here.
Okay, well, on that note, I'm going to... what are we doing? Oh, yeah. Let's try this. I think this one's pretty low. Is there some in there?
Yep. That's okay. We're due for another Talisker anyway.
What do we got in there? We got enough. For
We
a
got
good
enough.
try.
We got enough to try, and
Okay.
this is the night to have it.
How about that?
Yep, I agree with that.
It's
Ooh,
like a
look at that!
quarter
What do you
ounce.
notice right away, Johnny?
It looks really light.
Exactly, very pale.
Actually, standing side by side, they look... Yeah, it is a
They
bit...
look more similar in the bottle, but definitely in the glass, you have a whole different thing going on.
Storm is darker. Or that, yeah, the Storm's darker. That's right. Yeah, we in the...
Wow, hey, this is quite the night. All of a sudden, exploding into a Talisker 10 coming off.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to this. This is really...
Yeah, I know.
Scotch Club to me is
This
this.
is Scotch Club.
It's nice to be able to compare.
Yeah. Yeah, to have the resources in which to have an on-the-spot follow-up to all that discussion, eh?
Yeah.
Right off the nose, what do you notice?
Mm.
Do you notice the wood that you noticed in the Storm? I don't.
I don't
No.
notice much of anything right now.
It goes straight to what I can tell you what it goes to. It goes to that iodine medicinal high, like it's like power on the wind.
It still has the
Power
salt,
on the wind. Yeah, exactly. Iodine. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Like that, and
The
I mean
salty.
salt. So totally brine salt. But it, the reason why I say iodine, and I don't want to get into this, but it pulls together both the salt and the strength.
Okay.
It has medicinal and it has. Does iodine have any salt?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm
I
off.
guess I
I
wasn't...
don't know, really.
I'll go with it, though.
Yeah, I'll
That's
go
all right.
with it too.
Yeah, I see what you
it's
mean.
a marker, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Because it suggests the strength with like sort of a unique It has the ocean.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah.
That's what always, the ocean and the fire.
Yeah. Ocean and fire. Lava of the Cullens.
Yeah. One
Lava of the Cullens. All right, you ready?
All right, let's do it. Cheers.
Okay, here we go.
Ooh. Okay. In my mind, this is why I didn't want to have the Talisker 10. There's something bigger and more beautiful going on in that sip, is there not? Where the other one is satisfying, this one has just bigger overtones. It's larger.
Well, one thing for sure, it's still there. Viscosity doesn't break down.
No, it's almost, it's more so.
It's more so. The oil, the sea heat oil is all over your tongue right now.
Yeah.
You know, so it's on. It's really on in that sense. And so what is different, it doesn't have the smoke. It doesn't have that, it doesn't even go there. It has the power of the oil, but it doesn't have the charring smoke.
Oh, I disagree. I think there is some smoke in
Really?
the top end, yeah. Feel it in
Top
the top
end
of your
in the
mouth.
smell,
Right in the
or-
top of your mouth. Well, you'll get this, it almost feels like it's ascending into your nasal cavities. You don't have to get it. Totally
No, it's not.
Yeah.
You're not far off. But I get more hung up on the, when you say that, I can see it. I can feel it. But when I'm drinking it, what I'm most taken by is sort of the way that my entire tongue feels like it's encompassed in like a whole, like it's like a membrane almost. It just totally
Big blanket.
Yeah. It's like all together coming in unison, and for me it just is salt and then heat and then like a salt heat oil thing, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas I don't focus on the smoke. I mean, I can see it sort of drifting away on the back of the tongue after, but it's not the dominant characteristic, you know. I don't.
No.
And whereas again in the storm, I was sensing it up front on the smell, and then in the taste, I would taste the flavor of smoke, but it didn't have the finish. Whereas this has
It feels like there's a fire in the back of my throat.
totally.
Yeah.
It doesn't leave,
No.
and it's not uncomfortable.
No.
That's
No,
the
it's not.
weird
It's
thing.
comforting.
Like, why would fire in your mouth be
Yes.
comfortable? And yet, that's the paradox, right? That's where it all comes together, right? I think that's when it's, you know, you talk about why you're in the top 3 of all time and why it's hard to compare. That is why it's hard to compare, because it creates something that is paradoxical. It's like, it shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be enjoying fire in my mouth, and yet Talisker 10 allows that to happen.
It does
you
the
know?
trick.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, and again, like the whole Talisker name, I have yet to come across a Scotch that has even sort of touched that avenue or that vein of Scotch flavors. I've never had that, and that's what I look for in a Scotch. You know, what is different about you? And if it's really distinctive, it's going to be up there in one of my favorites.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think that when you drink whiskey, sometimes you want your life to be
So good.
interrupted, you know? You don't want things to carry on in a normal fashion. So if you're going to put this into a glass and then put it in your body, you're challenging yourself just on that idea alone, you know? That's why I think sometimes, and I remember it actually when I first drank this particular bottle, I had trouble with it. It wasn't my favorite.
No, me too.
Like, it wasn't like I was like, oh, I want it. Like, it was more like, I respect it, it's a part of the bar, and it's important to have that Scotch, but I wasn't like, I want it.
No, me too. I was
Yeah.
always envious of those people that liked it. I think there was, like, back in the day, in the old Scotch Club, there was
David.
David was the only guy who liked it,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, no, I like it,
Yeah.
it's good, but
He
I
got
didn't,
it.
He got it. I did. It took me like another 15 years.
It's a fair,
And then it was, oh.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't for me, too.
Yeah, I know my dad got me into it, too. He just, I don't think he just bought one. He likes to buy lots of different stuff, and he got one of those, and he's like, this is quite unique. And you know, that's always the way it starts with me. Somebody can almost talk me into liking a Scotch, but usually there's if you really like a Scotch, you talk about it and it's going to be attractive to other Scotch lovers. And their opinion may win
Yeah.
you over a little bit, but You know,
Well,
there's something to it. If it affects somebody so badly that they got to talk about, you know,
they're
how much
going out
they
of
love
their
it.
way.
Yeah, right.
Well, and it's most fun when you meet somebody else that drinks this, you know.
Yes.
You're like, well, would you try this? And, and then you always come down to it. And honestly, when I check Scotch reviews and Scotch pages, and when I look at what people are doing, the one thing that gives me some comfort is that the Lagavulin, the Lafroig, and the Talisker are on everybody's top 10.
Yeah.
And if not top 5. Like, it's pretty solid. If you don't see those in there, you have to start asking questions, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
you kind of trust their, like,
yeah.
or did they go with the Johnny Walker Blue, and you're like, yeah, because it's expensive? No, that's not why it's good. You know, and it's not, you know, it's debatable. We haven't tried that one yet,
well,
but, you know, I just don't, I can't,
I
would rather buy a Talisker. I'd rather buy 3 Taliskers.
I would agree, but, you know, after reading this field guide book, what they talked about was the master blenders. That these guys, they go right into this stuff. They really get into...
Like Monkey Shoulder?
Yeah, Monkey Shoulder.
No, but that my brother-in-law was talking about, was it something oyster?
Oh, yeah.
I remember what, but anyway, another blend. Like
right.
he said it was really good. Maybe that's coming up now.
Well,
maybe everybody should be looking out for the blends.
I think the blends, I don't know. They probably have something going on. I know, it's hard to say. I can't see
why anybody would like a blend over a single malt, though, because the argument is that you're mixing a whole bunch of really good ones together, and I feel like, well, okay, yeah, maybe, but I'd like to have the really good ones all on their own.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I would generally agree with you 9 out of 10 times, but the only thing that's holding me in counterpoint is the idea that there is an art to mixing whiskey.
Yeah.
And
yeah, for sure.
It's like a color palette that you can say, like, you want your blue, you want your purple, you want... And then somehow, some way, if you keep mixing, maybe you're going to come up with something incredible. Now, maybe you just haven't tasted that yet. You know,
well, maybe, but I think that you can't say the Talisker is just the color blue or Lagavulin's red, right? You know, they're more than that.
Yeah.
Right? It's not. I understand your analogy about, like, let's mix them all together, all these colors.
Isn't there 50 or 60 blues that you can think of off the top of your head?
Yeah, but when you mix blue with whatever, yellow, you get green.
Okay. So
all the shades of green. I'm just not sure where you're going with that.
Oh, I'm going to the point to say,
if you put all the colors together, you get like a big mucky brown color.
Crap. Turns into crap. Right. Yeah. Well, then you don't want to turn into crap.
No.
That's great.
So,
but okay. So instead
that argument,
okay, where do I spend most of my time? I spend most of my time drinking single malt.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Because it tastes better.
You got that right. So why put all the good stuff together? It's like making, like, you know, when you mix the pops together when you were a kid.
All right, well, let's stay on this point.
It was all right.
Let's stay on this point. Right. What about? Okay, then some people might say that you don't create an NSA whiskey like Storm because, you know, it's sort of like, what's the point? You're just mixing things together. You're not really being legit.
That's where your tone analogy comes into it, right? The tone analogy. Then you're within the mixes of blues.
All right. Okay.
To me, it's not. You're not mixing colors together.
Right. So there you go.
And that can be a good thing, I guess, right? Because you know, green's a nice color.
So you're saying taking blended whiskeys and really trying to get into them and investing in their tasting is maybe just like a little outside the spectrum of, you know, worthwhileness?
Yeah, like how much would it cost? Let's say you were a blender, right? And
yeah.
I know the blends are coming more expensive, but how much, like, I think you're getting the second barrel whiskeys in all these distilleries. Because, who's going to buy Lagavulin 16 and put it into a mix? Like,
well, they do that.
Why would you do that?
They do that. They even say, I think it's in the blue.
It's probably the one that was too close to the sea.
Johnny Walker Blue.
Yes, right. They say anything less than, but it's probably it's like the slightly spoiled version of Lagavulin.
Here, I'm going to show you the picture of the one woman. I think it's a woman. She's like, she's behind a big laboratory sort of desk. Am I going off here?
No, that's all right. No, I mean, we can't see pictures. I'm not going to show the picture.
Right. Well, it's nice to be drinking Talisker.
It's nice to have the option to pull that bottle off the shelf and give it a small little taste.
Just see what's up.
That's a beautiful thing.
It is. Because it's a good one.
Yeah, and I'll put it away because we don't want to have any more of that because we need to have some of that on store.
Yes. We need that as one final comparison. Or, it just tastes good.
Doesn't it, though? Like, okay, you know what we should do? We should have a little pinch more of the Storm just to,
Tap it.
Go
cap it.
back to back.
Okay.
Right?
I'm not getting no
Are you
problem
good?
with that. Well, yeah, I'm getting there. I'm just at the bottom of my. That's still a nice little deal there.
Oh.
Look at Johnny. See what I mean about the viscosity? Look at the. See how that looks? See how it holds together?
It's
like
moving
a blob?
slowly in the glass.
It doesn't move like water moves. It's blobbing together inside a outer shield that has like a force field around it.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. I've never really looked at it like that before. But here in that glass right now, you can see it.
Yeah.
That's Talisker.
Oh,
Hey?
that is Talisker.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this other one here. Oh, get the bow out of the way. Is that enough?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Now, what happens now? I don't want to be
know.
disappointed. I'm not going to, I think we're going to be realistic about it.
Well, I think what I'm doing, I can't speak for you, but I'm definitely thinking I'm going back after the wood campfire. I want that. I want to go find it now. I think it's going to be there, whereas the last one didn't have it. So it'll be fun.
Yeah.
So on the nose, can you not smell that?
It's more
Up
noticeable. The
frontness.
smell is bigger.
Yeah, way bigger. It's smoky.
Yeah, it is.
It's smoky on the horizon. It's smoke on the water right there. Smoke on the water.
Let's give it a shot.
You ready?
Mm-hmm. Ready? Let's go.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. See?
That tasted really thick.
No, it narrows down the middle of the
Oh, but it still tastes
doesn't
pretty
coat,
big.
Doesn't coat. Oh, it gets bigger in flavor. It has a bigger
And I would
flavor
say more
radius.
smoke. You said more smoke,
Yes.
and I wasn't really thinking that
Yes,
way. But
but
I'm
you
like,
smell
wow,
it, right? Now?
I taste it.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
all through the mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
you see how it outsmokes the Talisker 10 for sure.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's a nice drink, but it's still
But it doesn't,
it doesn't have the bigness.
No, it doesn't fill your mouth like the other one. The other one's a more total experience. This one has a note of intensity that rides above the other, but the other one has a total package that's more comprehensive and solid, you know?
Yeah.
This just has one outstanding thing that just really is up front. You know?
Totally.
Yeah. And it's cool. Like, you know, and they did a good job with it, but it doesn't stand up.
No, it's not as good, but it is lesser, you know, it costs less to buy. So.
And it's also worth 4 stars as opposed to 5.
Yeah. And again, if it was in the liquor store and it was like one of the only options that I would consider buying, I'm going to get it.
Right.
I have no problem with that. I'm like, yeah, it's a
if you want
Talisker.
good scotch,
Yeah.
but you don't have the option to get the 10 and you only,
Mm-hmm.
that's not a bad way to look at it either. Okay, here's a question then. For the money, you have to factor in the money.
Mm-hmm.
What would you rather have between the Select and the Storm?
The Storm.
With the extra payment of like 20
Storm's
bucks or
more, you
whatever?
mean? No, the
Isn't
Storm
it?
isn't that much more, is it? Well, we figured that
That
the
cheaper.
Freud Select was 74.
This one's close to 100. That one's like, so it's like 20
That's
bucks.
close to 100?
Yeah.
I thought that was more like 80.
80 plus taxes.
Because the Talisker is like 92, isn't it? Or it used to be about 100
No, I
bucks
think you're
Canadian.
right. Yeah. 90. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe
I think it's a little less than that,
maybe
but I
it's
hear your point.
80 on like, so we end up like walking out for about 90, maybe 93 or 94 with the Storm, whereas the other one's probably worth about 105 or 106.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
probably-
102, maybe,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. Well, so if it's a little more than the Select, I'm still going to go with the if I have to pay less than $10, and I'm
Less
all
than
right
10
with,
bucks. Yeah, that's easy.
yeah, then
Less
would
than
you
10
do the
bucks,
Storm
yeah.
too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
less than 10 bucks, I go Storm. If
Yeah, me
it's
too.
20, I start thinking Select though.
Yeah,
You know?
because you're still happy with it.
It's really good.
It's not a bad Scotch.
No, it's a really good Scotch. Yeah.
You're not going to be disappointed.
No.
But if you can chip in the extra to get the Lefroy 10 or the Talisker 10,
Well, now you're talking another
Now you're
level.
talking a
You're
happy-
talking a 5-star Scotch.
that's
though.
a good evening.
Yeah. You know what? I've enjoyed this.
Me too. Me too. It's good to get on the other side of the camera.
Hey, it's good to be
Yeah.
good to be the subject as long, along with the. Yeah, it's good to be involved in the product of, whatever. It's fun to talk Scotch. I think in reflection, when you think about going from the Storm, heading into Talisker 10, having a chance to enjoy that experience and share it together and get excited about drinking Scotch, it kind of brings it together why we try to do all this stuff. Wouldn't you agree, John?
Oh yeah, it's
So we're just gonna sign out.
So yeah, it was fun to do this. I think we'll try it again. Maybe we'll try it
so.
again and see after every one. We'll just talk about it together.
Yeah.
Discuss what's going on.
Well, we've got a lot of ideas, don't we? I mean, there's a lot of things that you can't capture in a video that often can only be captured through a bit of discussion and dialogue. And it doesn't just have to be about the tasting of a Scotch. It can be about many, many other things that relate to Scotch and that Scotch helps to inspire.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what we're after here.
Yeah.
All right.
Discussion on Scotch. Well, anyway.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks for listening. Cheers.
From the Wee Dram.
Here's from the Wee Dram.
From the Wee Dram.
From the Wee Dram.
Here we are.
Here we go. Let's try it
And
again.
cheers.
Cheers.
From the Wee Dram. It's often the best part. you try to, like, it's like, I don't want to be acting. But then, of course, you are. Then you catch yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Acting awkward.